7 biblical hardwoods that burn for 20 hours straight. What if I told you that some of the longest burning, hottest firewoods ever stacked against a cold night weren't cut from an Appalachian oak stand, weren't sourced from a premium Vermont hardwood dealer, and weren't listed in any modern BTU chart, but cut from Lebanese mountainsides and Judean hillsides 3,000 years ago, stacked in stone hearths, and documented in scripture with the exact names we can still look up today? Most people don't know this. While we're paying $300 a cord for oak and maple, there are 7 specific hardwoods named in the Bible that produced more heat, burned longer, and smelled better than anything on a modern firewood delivery truck. Some of them are still burned today, by Amish families in Lancaster County, by homesteaders in the Ozarks, by anyone who stumbled onto what Scripture already told us. These aren't speculative woods. They are named in 1 Kings, in Exodus, in Genesis, in Numbers. They built Solomon's temple. They framed the Ark of the Covenant. They heated tabernacle fires that burned continuously by divine command. And modern USDA Forest Service firewood data confirms what the ancients already knew. Today, I'm going to show you all 7, every one named in Scripture, every one still burnable today if you have access to the right tree. Stick around for number 4. It's the wood God specifically commanded Moses to use for the entire structure of the Ark of the Covenant, a wood so fire-resistant it's functionally impossible to fully burn. Modern wood science confirms why. And number 7, the wood Solomon sent entire fleets across the Mediterranean to acquire, burned in his temple for 400 years straight. Its BTU rating matches the best American hardwoods you can buy today. If you want off-grid heating wisdom backed by real wood science, delivered every single week, hit subscribe and ring the bell. I cover the wood stove, masonry heater, hearth, and firewood knowledge that kept families warm through Pennsylvania winters for 300 years before electricity. Here are 7 biblical hardwoods that burn for 20 hours straight, ranked from impressive to absolutely incredible. Number 7. Sycamore fig, the working man's firewood. 1 Kings 10 verse 27. Solomon made cedar as plentiful as the sycamore fig trees of the lowlands. Amos 7 verse 14. The prophet Amos identifies himself as a gatherer of sycamore fruit. Luke 19 verse 4. Zacchaeus climbs a sycamore to see Jesus. The sycamore fig, in Hebrew, shikma, was the most abundant heating wood of the Israelite lowlands, not the prestige wood, that was cedar. This was the everyday wood, cut by common people, burned for common heat. Sycamore fig wood runs about 32 pounds per cubic foot seasoned, solidly in the medium hardwood range, comparable to American sycamore and elm. A cord delivers roughly 20 to 22 million BTU, enough to heat a 1,500 square foot home for 3 to 4 weeks in moderate winter. Cut in late fall, split, stacked off the ground with airflow, seasoned through the dry summer. By the next winter, it's fully ready. This is the baseline heating wood of the ordinary Israelite household, the wood that kept ordinary families warm while the kings were burning cedar. Number 6. Terebinth, the sacred oak of the patriarchs. Genesis 18 verse 1. The Lord appeared to Abraham by the terebinth trees of Mamre. Genesis 35. Jacob buries foreign gods under a terebinth. Judges 6 verse 11. The angel of the Lord appears to Gideon under a terebinth. The terebinth, in Hebrew Ella, was a sacred landmark tree, and when one eventually fell or needed to be cleared, its wood was exceptionally valuable. Terebinth belongs to the pistachio genus, same family as the pistachio and the mastic tree. The wood is dense, resinous, and slow burning, about 42 pounds per cubic foot seasoned, hardwood territory. A cord delivers roughly 26 to 28 million BTU, comparable to American beech or sugar maple. But the resin is the real secret. When terebinth burns, it releases a sweet, spicy aroma similar to frankincense, and the resin prolongs the burn significantly. Because these trees were sacred markers, they weren't cut casually, but when one came down naturally, the wood was split, seasoned a full year, and saved for high-value occasions, feast days, holy days, the coldest nights of winter. Number 5. Tamarisk, the desert tree Abraham planted. Genesis 21 verse 33. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and there called on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. 1 Samuel 22. Saul sits under a tamarisk. 1 Samuel 31. Saul's bones are buried under one. The tamarisk, in Hebrew, eshel, was the miracle tree of the Negev desert. It grew where almost nothing else could. Tamarisk is surprisingly dense for a desert tree, about 38 to 42 pounds per cubic foot, solidly in the medium hardwood range, comparable to American sycamore or elm. But the resin is the real secret. When tamarisk burns, it releases a sweet, spicy aroma, similar to frankincense, and the resin prolongs the burn significantly. Because these trees were sacred markers, they weren't cut casually, but when one came down naturally, the wood was split, seasoned a full year, and saved for high-value occasions, feast days, holy days, the coldest nights of winter. Number 4. Acacia, the fire-resistant wood of the ark. Exodus 25 verse 10. They shall make an ark of acacia wood. In Hebrew, shittim. This wood was specifically commanded by God for the Ark of the Covenant, the tabernacle pillars, the altar of incense, the table of showbread. Everything in the tabernacle was acacia. Everything. Exodus 25, Exodus 26, Exodus 27, Exodus 30. Acacia repeated again and again. And here's why. Acacia, the Negev and Sinai species, is one of the most remarkable woods in the world. Density, about 51 pounds per cubic foot. That puts it past oak, past hickory, past sugar maple, extreme hardwood. But density isn't the whole story. Acacia is naturally fire-resistant, termite-resistant, rot-resistant, dimensionally stable to an extraordinary degree. Desert acacia trees have been documented surviving lightning strikes, flash floods, and century-long droughts. You can put a seasoned piece of acacia in a hearth fire, and it can take 30 to 40 minutes before fully igniting. That's the divine reason. The ark had to last. It had to resist fire because the tabernacle fires burned continuously. It had to resist insects because the desert was full of termites. It had to stay dimensionally stable because it was carried across deserts and rivers for 40 years. Acacia was the only wood in the Near East that met every one of those requirements. The tabernacle stood for 400 years. Its boards were acacia. As firewood, used sparingly because of its enormous value as building timber, acacia delivers roughly 28 to 30 million BTU per cord, long, hot burn times, 12 to 16 hours for a full loaded hearth, minimal smoke. The ancients generally didn't burn acacia, they built with it. The wood God selected to carry his presence was the most indestructible wood in the desert. Number 3. Almond wood, the wood that budded overnight. Numbers 17, Moses places 12 staves in the tabernacle, one for each tribe. The next morning, only one has budded, Aaron's. And behold, the staff of Aaron for the house of Levi had sprouted, and put forth buds, had produced blossoms and yielded ripe almonds. Jeremiah 1 verse 11, God shows Jeremiah a vision of an almond branch. Exodus 25, the golden lampstand is modeled on the flowering almond tree. Cups shaped like almonds, knobs, and flowers. The almond in Hebrew, shaked, blooms first every spring in Israel, often while snow is still on the ground. It became the symbol of watchfulness and resurrection. Almond wood runs about 45 pounds per cubic foot seasoned, a true hardwood, harder than white oak. It delivers roughly 30 million BTU per cord, comparable to apple or cherry. And the aromatic compounds release a sweet, nutty smoke, similar to the most prized smoking woods used for meat preservation across the entire Mediterranean to this day. Trimmings from olive orchards were pruned every year, saved, split, seasoned a year, then burned. The almond orchard didn't just feed the family, it heated the kitchen. Number 2. Olive wood, the wood that outlasts the tree. The olive is one of the 7 species. Genesis 8, the dove returns with an olive leaf. Romans 11, the olive as a metaphor for the grafting of nations. But the wood itself was used in the temple. 1 Kings 6 verses 23 through 33, the two cherubim of the Holy of Holies and the doors of the inner sanctuary were carved from olive wood. Olive trees regenerate indefinitely. Trees on the Mount of Olives have been dated to roughly 2,000 years old. An olive tree can be cut to the stump and regrow from the roots. This is a tree that is essentially immortal. And when one finally died or was cleared, the wood was gold. Olive wood runs about 56 pounds per cubic foot seasoned, one of the densest hardwoods in the world. That density translates directly into burn time. A seasoned piece of olive wood in a banked fire can burn for 20 hours without adding new fuel, slowly, hotly, almost smokelessly. Per cord, olive wood delivers roughly 32 to 35 million BTU, at the very top of the firewood performance range, matching or exceeding the best American hardwoods you can buy. And the smoke. Olive wood burns with a sweet, slightly fruity aroma, which is why it's one of the most prized smoking woods for cured meats across the entire Mediterranean to this day. Trimmings from olive orchards were pruned every year, saved, split, seasoned, and burnt. The wood heated so long and so hot that a single piece could sustain a cooking fire for half a day. For families near olive groves, this was a premium fuel, rivaled only by number 1. And number 1, Cedar of Lebanon, the wood of the temple. 1 Kings chapter 5, the entire chapter. Solomon sends a message to Hiram, king of Tyre. Command that they cut down for me cedars of Lebanon. Hiram responds with a fleet of ships. Cedar logs floated along the Mediterranean coast to Joppa, then dragged overland to Jerusalem. The entire temple, 1 Kings 6, was paneled in cedar. Ceiling, walls, inner sanctuary, all cedar. Psalm 92, the righteous shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Ezekiel 31, the cedar as the metaphor for the mightiest tree ever grown. Cedar of Lebanon is referenced over 70 times in Scripture. It was not just wood, it was the wood. Now, cedar runs about 34 pounds per cubic foot, mid-range by density. That's not what made it the greatest wood of the biblical world. What made cedar extraordinary is its chemistry. Cedar of Lebanon contains exceptionally high concentrations of natural resins and aromatic oils, compounds called hemachylene, cedrol, and cedrine. These make the wood naturally fungus-resistant, termite-resistant, and extraordinarily rot-resistant. Cedar beams in Solomon's temple lasted 400 years before being replaced. As firewood, cedar delivers roughly 25 to 27 million BTU per cord, not the highest on this list, but the burn characteristics are unique. Cedar ignites easily, burns hot and fast, and releases a smoke so aromatic that the smell clings to garments, to houses, to memory. Cedar wasn't the everyday firewood. It was too valuable. It was used as kindling to start the hotter, denser woods, the olive, the acacia, the almond, and it was burned ceremonially, in the temple, in wealthy households, during feast days, where its aroma became the smell of celebration, the smell of holiness itself. The wood Solomon sent fleets across the Mediterranean to acquire, the wood that paneled the temple for 400 years, the wood whose smoke the prophets described as a scent of the presence of God. Still burnable, still available, still the most aromatic firewood on earth. Here's what I want you to understand. Your woodshed isn't just fuel storage. It's a choice. Every cord you stack is a choice about what kind of heat, what kind of smoke, what kind of memory you're building into your home. The ancients didn't pick these 7 woods at random. They picked them because they were the best, the longest burning, the hottest, the sweetest smelling, the most durable. The Bible names them because they mattered, and they still matter. Same BTU charts, same burn times, same aromatic compounds. 3,000 years later, the physics hasn't changed. If this video changed the way you think about the wood you're burning, smash that like button. It helps other people find the channel. Drop a comment and tell me which wood you wish you could stack in your woodshed. Are you team cedar, team olive, or team almond? I read every single comment. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button and ring the notification bell. I post every week. Heating, preservation, and the homestead knowledge that kept families warm before the grid existed. We're building a community of people who understand that heating your home isn't an accident. It's an inheritance, passed down from Abraham's tamarisk to Solomon's cedar to your woodshed tomorrow morning. Thanks for spending time with me today. I'll see you in the next one.